And we are live. I'm back with Games Talk Live. It's been a couple of weeks now. I've been on vacation, but I'm back now, and I've got a special guest with me, of course, that being Mr. Neo Game Spark, NGS, if you don't know him. I'm sure a lot of you know him by now. It's got quite a following out there on YouTube and the Twitter space. So how's it going, Neo?
Oh, it's going great, Fonz. Thank you so much for having me on the show, man. And the return for the comeback episode of Games Talk Live. This man has returned from a cross-country trek all the way from, what was it? You said California to Florida, man?
And back. Yeah. It was a long one, but it was a fun one as well. Let me get some stuff pulled up here really quickly. I want to get some banners to shout out all of my, of course, followers and supporters of the show right down there. And by the way, I don't know if you've seen the show before, Neo, but I do something on this show where I ask you some trivia questions.
Oh.
Now, all of these questions are, most of them aren't subjective, but there's always one subjective question I have in there. But let's go ahead and get to this thing.
I just have a feeling I'm gonna fail this terribly because trivia was always my worst subject in school. Well, always. But we'll see how far we can go.
Exactly. I like to call this 5 questions. All right. Enough of that silly music, but we're going to go ahead with the first question here.
Let's go.
How many games were released? Wrong question. All right. First question. When did the first PlayStation, PS1, launch in Japan? What year?
1994.
You got that right.
There we go.
There you
I'm
go.
about to say, well, I got to skip for a second because I know that one at least.
And yeah, coming back, can you tell me how many games were released on that system?
Ooh, like the entire library?
Just the number of games that were released on the console that day. Let me give you some. It's A, B, or C here.
Okay.
A is 17, B is 22, or C 35.
I'm gonna go 17.
You got it right.
Oh shit! All right.
So you're doing well. You're doing very well. Yeah. So, who is the protagonist in Persona 5?
The protagonist in Persona 5. Okay, so here's the thing. There's a couple of different names you can have for the protagonist.
Yes. I've got them both.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Akira. That's the name I go by.
Okay. I'll give you that. So that's the one of the other one is of course
Joker. I mean,
Joker.
that's his
Joker's the other one. Yep.
Phantom Thief name.
So what is the best selling Nintendo exclusive of all time, sir? Do you know this?
Ooh.
Now think about all their consoles.
Yeah, that's what I had to start doing because they sold a lot of games.
Yeah, but think about that. No cheating with the chat.
I know. I don't even got the chat pulled up.
Yeah,
if I had the chat pulled up, it'd be to the right side. But
yeah.
Damn. Part of me in my brain, I want to say Mario Kart for the Switch because that thing just keeps selling crazy. But I want to say. I mean, they released it so many times. I want to say the original Super Mario Bros.
Oh, you got it wrong. It's actually the Wii Sports game.
Oh, okay.
Remember, that's why I say you got to remember.
Right.
Yes, you got to remember that.
That's
because every company includes, with sales, the pack-ins to all their games.
True.
Wii U Sport, not Wii U. Wii Sports was just a madhouse, like a big time freaking. It was in everybody's homes at one time, it felt like. Even your grandma had a Wii. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy. Favorite gaming experience of all time for you?
Favorite gaming? Is this trivia or?
This is the one subjective question.
Oh, one subjective. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot, gaming almost 30 years. There's a lot of memories that I go back to, but honestly, like one that just really sticks out in my mind was the first time I got a chance to play online cooperative games on Xbox 360. Like to me, just getting in a party chat with my boys from school and just like staying up until 2-3 a.m. in the morning playing stuff like World at War's campaign, and then the Nazi zombies mode and all that stuff. Like for me, that it will always stay in my brain, always.
Yeah. You know what? There's nothing like, co-op, going online with friends and stuff. I remember doing that with the original OG Xbox. That's when it was for me.
Yeah.
Ghost Recon was my first experience with that.
Nice.
Ghost Recon during the Xbox Live beta, there was nothing like it. It was just amazing back then. Matter of fact, I met 4 guys from New York, from your stomping grounds.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
And it was amazing. Like we stayed in contact for years. One guy I still talk to till this day, and we're such good friends.
Isn't it beautiful what gaming can do, man? Like
it's
just
really
all
amazing.
These relationships, bro. It's awesome.
It really is. Brigadier's Blue says GTL is back, baby. Hope you had a good vacation road trip, Fonz. Yes, I did. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate that. Of course, I got Colt Eastwood saying Fonz is back. Thank you, Colt. Appreciate it. So I want to get in, I want to talk to you a little bit about, your start here on YouTube. Now, my first time I've ever seen any one of your videos was when you did a video about the Xbox One X. It was a review from a PlayStation guy. That video, I feel like, really blew you up in a way. So you've been around a long time, though. I was looking back at some of your videos, and I just, you know what? I have to do this because I was looking back.
What are you doing?
And no.
Hey guys on YouTube, it's me, Qmon2 or NGS or Chris, whatever you guys want to call me. I'm making another vlog, and I've decided to stay on YouTube. So I want to say thank you to everybody who commented on my last video. A lot of people are finding me again. Slowly but surely they're finding me. And people subscribe to me even when I didn't upload any videos because they know I'm going to upload some good videos. So
yeah. So, you know what? Hey, that's how long this man has been on YouTube, folks.
This man has brought up fetus Neo, baby Neo,
baby Neo, baby NGS there, or Qmon2, or So, what was with the name Qmon2?
All right, so I might as well just dive into my little bit of a history. So for most of y'all who might be watching, who might have found me from that Xbox One X video I did last year. Thank you so much for that. It's awesome. But I actually started doing YouTube videos back in 2007, 2008. And now it started off just doing random stuff, like essentially if there was a game trailer that I saw that was really dope on like IGN or GameSpot and it wasn't on YouTube, I would just upload it to YouTube. Like, hey, here's this game coming out. I think it's kind of interesting. And then from there, I kind of grew a small little following. But it wasn't until 2008 where I actually wanted to appear on camera. And it came from actually doing a tutorial on how to mod your Wii to play import anime games. Yeah. That was the first time I got on camera. And the name Qmon, where it comes from, it's actually for all the anime heads in the room, they might know. There's a character in this show called Naruto. His name is Rock Lee. And he has these gates that unlock power within him. And one of the gates is called Qmon. I forget what the gate actually means. But that was the name that I had selected because I was really big into Naruto at the time. And I wanted to come up with a username. And I just said, let's just type in Qmon. There it goes. And so anyone who understands how YouTube worked back in the day, copyright strikes, if you got a copyright strike, your channel was down. Period, point blank. And it wasn't like there's social media where it's if your channel goes down, you can still find me. So if someone's account got deleted, that's it. You didn't know where they were at. So I created Qmon2 as a way for people to, hey, if they remember me by the name, it'll be easier if they just type it in. So Qmon became Qmon2. And then when Qmon2 got taken down, I had a backup account called Neo Game Spark because I wanted to do something related to a game show. I didn't know what, but you know how it is. You start thinking into the future. I want to make sure I have this name. So when Qmon2 got taken down, I switched over to Neo Game Spark, but I still called myself Qmon2 for a good year while people started getting acclimated, you know?
That's cool though. You were showing how to mod things and stuff back then. I don't know how old you were there. Probably what? 12, 13?
So let me see. 12, 13.
No, not even that.
It looks like it. No. if that was 2008, well, no. That video was shit. Now I'm even forgetting. This is how old I'm getting. But if that video was in 2008, I was around 15 years old. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You looked really young, man.
Yeah, puberty hit me like a truck when I turned 21. That's all I could say.
Gotcha. That's funny though. Well, at least people still followed you. They knew you would bring out the good content, and you surely did. You do today. I found you from that video, that Xbox One X review and everything, and I thought, man, this guy's really level-headed, and these are the types of guys I like to follow in the gaming community. People that aren't necessarily quote-unquote fanboys. And it's like, yeah, sure, some people like to play with this fanboy stuff, and I get it, but at the end of the day, I like people that are of sound mind and actually talk about these games in a way where I want to listen to them, like that are passionate about the industry, about the community, about these games, everything. Like, to me, it's at the end of the day, it's all about the games, and that's the way you speak on it as well. So I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the kind words, Fonz.
Tony Bryant in the chat says, "Missed you, Fonz. Glad you're to be here. Great guest with Spark. Love the energy, of course."
I like what
Thank
you did
you.
there,
Appreciate
Tony.
it, Tony. So it's just one of those things where, like, how did it feel when Xbox reached out to you and wanted to send you a Series X, man? Because that was pretty shocking when I saw
that. To this day, I still like, how, when you wake up in the morning and you're kind of half asleep, but there's all this stuff happening and you're trying to like wake yourself up, but you don't have a grasp on it.
Yeah.
That's still how I'm feeling to this day.
Really?
Because when I uploaded the video, I thought nothing of it at the time. I literally just turned on my webcam, and in all one take, I talked about my time using the Xbox One X. I thought it'd be interesting, 21-day challenge, whatever. So I went to bed, and then I woke up in the morning, and I was checking like my YouTube analytics, and it was like, oh, the video is at like 8,000 views. 12 hours. I was like,
yeah.
All right, whatever, mind my business. So, I just went about my day, and then I get a notification from Twitter. Now, all my notifications on Twitter, you know how it is, like when you just deal with a lot of people, like I have all my stuff muted, except for like at mentions of important things. So I had an at mention coming in from Major Nelson saying, "Great video by Neil GameSpark about his time using the Xbox." And I was like,
nice.
Is this a parody account? Like, this doesn't make sense. And then I hit the link and I was like, oh snap, it's Major Nelson. Oh snap, why are all these people watching it? Oh snap, I go check the video, it's at 50,000 views. And so I started getting kind of nervous. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. What y'all think about this? But it was so surreal, because that video blowing up just brought me in contact with so many amazing people. Like the Xbox stuff, getting a Series X, like that's cool and everything. I mean, I was gonna buy a Series X anyway, but the one thing I got from that video going viral is just all the amazing connections with people that I've met, and people like you, Fonz. And it's just been such an amazing, like little over a year and a half since then, man. It's just awesome.
That's great. Yeah. And it is crazy. I mean, that's the difference when you look at, and this is no slide to Sony, but if you look at what Xbox does and how they reach out to the community a lot, and they talk to the community, it's really big. It really does hold some value there, in my opinion. I feel like that they're listening, or at least they give us the perception that they are listening. Whereas with Sony, when they don't talk to you, you feel like that, hey, maybe they're not listening to us. Even though I think they still do, they just may not talk to us about it, like they do at Xbox. But at least with Xbox, you see that they do reach out and stuff, and it's like, oh, thanks. I've had a video retweeted out by Aaron Greenberg before, and I was like, whoa, that's awesome.
Yeah, Xbox is definitely on the grounds when it comes to communication and getting in touch with the community. And I think that's due in part to how much of a beating they took when it came to consumer relations during the 360. I'm not sure if you remember this, Fonz, but do you remember what you had to go through to turn off auto renewal for your Xbox Live subscription on 360?
I don't remember that, because it always just I paid it.
Yeah, you already paid it.
I never had any issues there.
There were periods and times where, like when I got a PS3 and I was playing a lot on the PS3, I didn't renew my Xbox Gold. There weren't any games I wanted to play online, so I was like, all right, whatever. Yeah. But before they made it standardized where you can just turn it off, you actually had to go and call Microsoft themselves to turn it off, and then you'd have to deal with a customer rep and just like all the hoops you had to go through to just get one thing done. Now it's completely different, where if you contact Microsoft for whatever reason, they will get back to you and they'll try to alleviate the situation. PlayStation, on the other hand, I mean, my whole situation with Returnal, that it just speaks for itself.
Well, you know, I've been through that before, where I tried to get a refund on a game with Sony before, and that's because it really wasn't working on my platform. They didn't care.
Yep,
they didn't care.
They don't.
And you know, again, I know it's business, but at the same time, like, you know, some of that, just that, I don't know how to say it, but I think that it speaks volumes when Xbox, you know, does certain things for the community that I don't see that Sony doesn't do. It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. But that said, man, what have you been playing lately?
Oh, lately, man, I've just been trying to clear through what I consider my backlog. So I've kind of resigned myself from the idea of finishing every single game on my backlog, because you know how it is. You buy, buy a lot of stuff on sale. You think you'll get to it, and it's like 7 years later, you're looking at your backlog like, what? Why did I even? Why? So I've been focusing on, because I love RPGs. RPGs are my preferred genre. I love getting lost in a world. But the problem with RPGs is that I invest bare minimum 70 hours into a really good game, which is awesome. But when you're trying to beat a couple of games, like there was one point where I'd only completed 5 games for a year, but they were all RPGs where I had 150 hours. So I'm like, huh. So I beat Yakuza Like a Dragon in June. That was my last big RPG. And then I wanted to shift away from that into beating like the whole 6 to 15 hour games. So I'm going through and finishing up A Plague Tale Innocence. I was already like halfway through the campaign, and then they dropped the Series X PS5 update, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to finish that up. So I'm going through that. In addition, finishing up Scarlet Nexus. I'm almost done with the male protagonist side, and then I'll probably go and finish the females just for posterity's sake. And then other than that, I've just been ironically playing a lot of co-op games, which is something I haven't done in a while. So my friend Joaquin just bought his very first Xbox recently.
Wow.
He went all out and got that Series X. He did the all access program.
One, huh?
Yeah. He was on break at work and he was just like, fuck, I'll get a Series X. So we've been running through a lot of like the notable Xbox marquee titles. So we're going through all of the Halo games before Infinite launches. We played A Way Out. That was I don't know. Have you played A Way Out, Fonz?
No, but I know about the game.
Oh, okay, man. It's just such a, you got to play with the right person. It's such a fun co-op game. And then Sea of Thieves, you know, I've been, no pun intended, dipping my toe into the water to see what it's all about. And it's been a lot of fun, man.
Yeah. For me, like it's, you know, if you're first coming into, excuse me, guys, I'm just getting back, vacation, kind of foggy.
Take some time.
Yeah, exactly. Man, I'm on this coast mode where, you know, this long drive I just did, it was nuts. Anyway. But Game Pass, you said your friend just got into the Xbox ecosystem, and he's with the program where I'm sure Game Pass is included, or he might have got into Game Pass.
Yeah, it's all included.
How does he feel about Game Pass?
So this is actually really funny because, like I said, he's my boy, so he thinks level-headed like me. He's never had an Xbox before, but one of the reasons why he wanted to get an Xbox was the allure of Game Pass. Yeah. He's a big Kingdom Hearts fan, so he saw that like all the games were on the service, and he says, I played these games 20 times, but for my 21st playthrough, let's try it on Xbox. And he just loved the idea of paying a monthly subscription and getting access to all these games. It's a dope thing, you know?
So would you say, well, was he primarily a Sony gamer? A PlayStation gamer?
Yeah, I mean, he games on Nintendo as well, but primarily like
Nintendo,
PlayStation is the platform.
Yeah. Would you say you're more a PlayStation guy as well?
Well, before getting an Xbox, like back when I had the 360, I gamed on everything for the most part. But after like the PS4 and Xbox One drop, I pivoted back towards PlayStation because honestly, it fulfilled 98% of my needs. So I was like, why do I need to get a Wii U or get an Xbox One? And that was until I got the Switch, and I was like, okay, the exclusives and the portability is nice, but I'm good with PlayStation for my main one. Then I got an Xbox, and you know what it was? It wasn't just like Game Pass and the selection of games. It was just how seamless of an experience it was. Like everything just works on Xbox, you know, just everything you think about, it's like, okay, they have it. They figured it out.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the thing, you know, I love the fact that I was able to pick up a PlayStation 5. I will always buy a PlayStation, an Xbox, and even Nintendo. I mean, regardless, like I don't even play my Switches, but I have them. Okay. Like I've always been a console guy that bought all the consoles, regardless. My son plays the heck out of that Switch, and that's great. He's having a good time with it. But for me, man, I wish they would go with a more traditional console, more power. But Nintendo just, they do their own thing. And that's something I wanted to get into today. One of the topics is that, the new Switch has come out, and it's got a bright, and shiny OLED screen, 7 inches, bigger, up from that 6.2, and a LAN port in the dock.
Yeah, very advanced technology.
Very advanced, yeah. And Nintendo used to be those people that were ahead of the innovation and really pushing innovation. And I mean, Mode 7 and the Super Nintendo, it was a great, strong system. And then they just kind of coasted with consoles. I call them the king of low effort consoles. Because, and this, I mean, by all accounts, this is a low effort step up for the Switch. And when you first started hearing rumors about a Switch Pro, you're thinking to yourself, hey, we're going to get a 4K Switch or at least a 1080p Switch or something cool. And then they drop this. How do you feel about that, man?
So I'm of two mindsets. On the one hand, I mean, this is just the standard annual revision for Nintendo. So I have no problem with them releasing new Switches every single year because it's a mobile product. They did it for the DS, the Game Boy, yada, yada, yada. That's fine. But the longer, as time progresses owning a Switch, the whole what's the best way I can use to describe this? How you're infatuated with a product when it first comes out, you love everything about it, but as time progresses, it starts to you start to see more clearly about what this product is. That's how it was with the Switch. I got it at the end of 2017, played it religiously, loved the platform for what it is, but my thoughts in 2017 versus 2021 are completely different.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting those experiences I want from Nintendo that I need right now in my life. And PlayStation and Xbox are giving me those experiences in abundance. So that's what really pisses me off about this new Switch, because it's been, the Switch is in its 5th year now, and it's still lagging behind consoles from 2013. I'm not talking about just from a power to performance angle, because I know a lot of people say, well, you don't buy the Switch for power. Okay. But the fact that you can't message your friends on it, you can't natively have party chats on the system, you have to use smartphones to get anything done. You're paying for online that used to be free. So they're basically charging you for the privilege of cloud saves and all this stuff. It just makes me wonder,
And Neo, speaking about the online service, from what I hear from my son, he says it's not really even that good.
Dude, I mean,
he's got a lot of there's a lot of issues with that service.
To put it into perspective, Monster Hunter Rise, they had to redo the entire infrastructure of Nintendo Online specifically for that game, because what Capcom wanted wouldn't have run on the regular Switch. Nintendo, I mean, as weird as this sounds, they're still running dial-up over there, man. There's everything that Xbox and PlayStation has invested into their ecosystems.
They're Nintendo in that 56K modem.
Bro, for real. Dude, if you play Smash Brothers, don't even try to play Smash Bros. Online, man. I mean, I don't know if your son has Smash Bros.
He's tried it. Yeah, he's played it. Sometimes he's just sitting there he's just frustrated.
Dude, it's just, they're so, and that's what really bothers me the most about Nintendo, because they have the clout to do such incredible things.
Of course.
They have that nostalgia in the bank, but what we're getting is low effort, bare minimum stuff. And that's, and what kills me is that they're now charging more for that low effort minimum stuff. It just doesn't make sense, bro.
It doesn't. And you know what? And here's the thing. I forgot to add. They are not only the king of low effort consoles, but they are the king of low effort consoles that are successful.
That's the dream there.
And
for
that's
business.
the thing. For any business, that's the dream. And it's they're going to get this thing is going to sell like hotcakes.
Absolutely. Dude, you see this already in the community. A lot of people out there yeah, like the Switch OLED. Oh my God, this is like a minimal upgrade. Like, I don't know why Nintendo's doing this. I'm still gonna buy it though. And I was that right there. That's it.
Why. That's why. It. Exactly. And as far as their games go and everything, like, look, when they put effort into their games and they come out, they've got some great games. All right.
Yeah.
But a lot of stuff are, they, especially at the beginning of the Switch life cycle, it seemed like you were getting a lot of Wii U ports and stuff.
We're still getting Wii U ports.
Yeah, and you're still getting them.
Nintendo, they do not want to acknowledge that system ever existed. Like,
yeah,
wait, what are you talking about? New Super Mario 3D World? That's a Switch game. What's a Wii U?
And again, since I'm a console guy, I have a Wii U as well. It's still around. It's still in my house, so it's still plugged up. Matter of fact.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter would use it to watch Netflix and stuff while she ate her bowl of cereal, but now Netflix don't even work on it. Like it's gone. Like they're not doing any support for that anymore. Like it's done.
It's out, man.
I got a few super chats to read here. Fun Speculation says, 2 awesome people loving this show, Fonz. Thank you very much, Mav. I appreciate that.
Shout out to Mav.
Hustle and Motivate says, great show as usual with an amazing guest who is trying to get me to play RE8.
I was about.
What's that about?
All right, so let me paint the picture for you, Fonz. All right. So here's the thing. Shout out to the homie Hustle Motive, great guy there. Check him out. So he let it slip that he has a phobia of scary video games, or in his case, anything that has a jump scare. He's terrified of it. Yeah. So I've been low key bullying this man on Twitter, saying, "Yo, you gotta play Resident Evil 7. You gotta play Resident Evil. You gotta play all these things." And he's just like, nah. And at every chance I get, until this man plays those games, I'm gonna keep bullying him, because that's what we do in this community.
That's hilarious. And I've got the Gaming Forte, my buddy. Hey, Fonz, great guest. Loving seeing NGS on the show. Great guy. Follow him as well if you're not.
Indeed.
Professor Chaos says 2 favorite YouTubers and 1 podcast. Wow, that's humbling. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, brother.
Yeah, since it's acquisition season, what 3 studios make the most sense for Xbox to grab? We'll get into that next. We'll talk about acquisition season, and we will definitely answer your question.
They leaking your show notes, Fonz. What's going on here?
Smitty Smith says, welcome back, Jay Fonz. I hope you and the family had a great time. Salute to you, brother. You are an absolute pillar of the community. I appreciate that, man. Seriously humbling. Like I said, man, to you before we started this show, man, there's so many great people in this community, and it really is humbling. Like sometimes you feel like you watch a YouTuber and they might say, man, I'm humbled by this or that. I freaking truly mean it, man. And I'm sure a lot of those guys do too, because I never expected to have even, I was thinking when I started this show, maybe a few people will show up and watch, I'm truly humbled by what I see in this community and how they've, embraced what I'm doing here and stuff. They've
embraced it. They've embraced it because you are you, Fonz. That genuineness, that authenticity, like that is what really separates. Because I get this question asked a lot. Like, how do I do this on YouTube? How to be successful? Yada yada yada. The truth of the matter is, I don't know if anyone's going to be successful on YouTube. There is no blueprint. There is no roadmap on how any of us did this stuff. We just ended up where we are. Some people takes longer than others, and that's okay. But the important thing is, if you persevere and you are yourself throughout the entire process, you will find an audience. And even if that audience is just one person, that's one person that likes you for you.
But it's also you got to crack that YouTube algorithm. And that is a hard nut to crack, because I don't understand it. I don't get it. Some videos get recommended, some don't, and I'm like, why? I put a lot more effort into this one, but it doesn't, do well. It's just crazy, and you'll never really know about that stuff. It's
never, man.
You can't predict that, but all you could do is you give the best advice. Be yourself. And just have fun with it. If you're not having fun with it, just quit, hang it up, because
absolutely, man,
there's no reason to do it. I got one here from Don Otaku. Says, I love NGS. He cool, but he also eat Hellmann's and fries, and he dip his Ritz crackers in milk. I don't know if we can really trust him. What are you dipping Ritz crackers in milk for, bro?
No. All right. So first things first, shout out to Don Otaku. He's a cool dude. Second, this also, I hate how I got to explain all these stories to you, Fonz.
What's Hellmann's and fries? What's Hellmann's and fries?
All right. Let me paint the picture for the second time today. Call me Picasso. All right. So a few weeks back, friend of ours, Randall Thor, as you know, he hosts the Xbox.
Friend of mine as well.
Yep. Randall Thor and Just Corden host the Xbox 2 podcast, right? And they was talking about some stuff. And so most podcasts I don't get a chance to watch live. I usually catch them on the playback, but I got a chance to tune into that. And the second I tuned in, I was eating my lunch, and then the first words I heard, I forgot it was either Rand or Jez who said it, mayonnaise trauma. And I was just like, hey, yo, what? Like, I still want to watch the show live. So I was like, yo, let me donate a super chat to see what this is happening. Like, what is this all about? Apparently, something about Rand and like 16 tubs of mayo. And it was like a whole horror story, he says. And I was like just teasing him about it, mayonnaise drama. And then on my stream later on that week, Rand came in and donated a super chat saying, what is it with you loving mayo, man? And I was like, wait, what? And so he tried to flip the whole script on me saying that I love mayonnaise just because every now and then I dip my French fries in some spicy Chipotle mayo. And then he's just like, oh, you love mayo. You brush your teeth with mayo and all that. And then it just went, it got out of control. It got out of control.
Yeah. There's a difference between spicy mayo and regular mayo, for
sure. Thank you, Fonz. That's all I'm trying to say.
There is a difference because I'm not a big mayo fan, but I will eat some spicy mayo on a sandwich or whatever. Yeah, I'll have some of that. Thank you, Smitty Smith, for becoming a channel member. Appreciate you, buddy.
Smitty Smith. Shout out.
He's been a big follower of mine for quite some time. Glad you become a channel member, man. It's good to see. So anyway, Jez, speaking of Windows or Xbox 2, Windows Central, of course, Jez being of Windows Central, he's reporting that NetherRealm and TT Games are up for sale. There's documentation out there stating this. Ooh. So talking about this Xbox acquisition season and all this stuff that we've been, alluding to here after that question we got. TT Games, of course, being the guys that make the Lego games, and NetherRealm, of course, being that of Mortal Kombat fame. What do you feel about this? You think that these developers could possibly be swooped up by Xbox or even PlayStation? Who knows?
So in general, as far as it pertains to acquisitions, I don't think that any company is really off the table for the most parts for a company like Microsoft, considering all they have to do is open the bank. But what it comes down to is what type of, at least from what we've seen with the recent acquisitions, what type of niche are they trying to fill? PlayStation's acquisitions are done very differently by comparison to Xbox's, but at the end of the day, both those companies, they acquire studios, developers, publishers with an intent for something. So when they bought Bethesda, at first a lot of people were wondering, all right, so maybe they bought Bethesda because they just wanted to bolster exclusive games, maybe. But it wasn't until like the recent Satya Nadella, Phil Spencer dual conference thing where they said that they want to have a major Game Pass title every 4 months. And the only way that they could feasibly do that would be to buy a publisher, because with all the studios they have right now, there's no way that would happen. If they're trying to launch 4 major games in a year, the only way they could do that would be buying a publisher that has developers. So in this situation, we got to look at what are they going to get out of it if they buy NetherRealms? If they buy NetherRealms, okay, they've secured themselves a fighting developer. Now, this is where it gets interesting
but that could be huge for them.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
A lot of people have been asking for what is that fighting game they use?
Killer Instinct.
Killer Instinct.
Yep.
A lot of people want Killer Instinct back.
Yep.
So why not?
It could be possible. They could acquire them and have them work on Killer Instinct. I could see that happening. Would it be a good fit? I mean, why not? I mean, just have a focus on fighting games in the FGC. That'd be a good thing for Xbox. Because Xbox haven't made Killer Instinct was their last big foray into that, and since then people have been wanting new content, so that could be cool. The Lego games, I could see that being perfect for something like Game Pass, just with all the kids on there and everything that they would put out. That's perfect. But the interesting about this whole situation is, I think just today, I'm not sure if you saw this, Fonz, people close to Warner Brothers, I think they issued a statement saying we have no intention to sell. We're very happy in the situation with Warner Media and Discovery, yada, yada, yada. And
okay,
I'm inclined to believe that, but if you've been following this industry as much as we have, y'all, every company says that until somebody opens up the checkbook. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. And sometimes they're in deep negotiations and still say some stuff like this.
Exactly.
So you never know.
Exactly.
As far as NetherRealm, I could also see the PlayStation side looking over it.
Yes.
And that's because, of course, they're, heavy into they just bought the
Evo.
Mm-hmm. So that would be perfect for them.
Yeah.
So they're big into fighters. They have their Street Fighter 5 was like exclusive at one time, or still is, right?
Yeah, it's still console exclusive to this day.
Yeah. So I mean, I could see them as well. But TT Games, I mean, if they were up for grabs, I could see either company going for them for the family-friendly stuff. It makes a lot of sense. But I'm still looking over at the obvious choices for Xbox, which would be Avalanche.
Oh, I'm surprised it hasn't happened by now.
Yeah,
dude.
They probably already have something in place, and they're just not saying it yet. Or IOI Entertainment as well. IOI. I could see them being picked up as well. They're already making a game for Xbox right now. That's a big RPG game. Very big budget.
Was it like that dragon?
Something about dragons. Yeah, there's going to be dragons involved. So, I mean, I could totally see that as well. But as for NetherRealm and TT Games, who knows?
I would really much rather. I'd much rather PlayStation or Xbox pick up those compared to a bunch of other publishers, especially when you start getting into, I'm not going to get into this too much, but especially when you start getting into publishers overseas in other countries. Like
when you talk about Tencent.
Yep. We just going to go there. Exactly. Yeah,
exactly. EA, even EA.
EA is the only company to buy a company and then close it down like 2 years later. I'm like, bro, come on.
That's scary. That's why, like right now, anybody who like is upset over the Bethesda acquisition, all of ZeniMax basically.
Yeah.
And don't be. At least Microsoft got them. It could have been worse. Could have been way worse.
Yeah. I think what really scared people is because there was a time, like I said, a lot of people don't remember, like the first half of that Xbox One's life was really bad. Like there was like barely any games coming out. Games weren't getting sequels. Studios were getting shut down. But this is a different Microsoft, well, at least Xbox. This is a different Xbox leadership from then to now. And the things that they have in place is going to be for years to come versus back then where it was just a very different mindset,
Yeah, a lot of people don't like to hear this, but, I think Phil Spencer has a lot to do with this.
Absolutely.
With the changes there at Microsoft and at Xbox. Because, I mean, look at who was there before him, Don Matrick. I mean, that guy was running it into the ground, in my opinion.
Dude, every now and then I get nostalgic and I go back and I rewatch like old E3 press conferences just to see how far we've come. And just something about Don Matrick. I don't trust somebody who the entire time he is on stage, this man is smiling like straight up like this all the time. And I'm like, what the, like I remember they showed like the Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain trailer. There was a lot of heavy stuff going on in that trailer. And all the time Don Matrick is just sitting there smiling. I'm like, bro, this is not, what are you doing?
Yeah. Man, it's crazy, but anyway, that's my thoughts about the whole thing. You got anything else to add to the conversation about this acquisition season? When do you think this could happen? Like an announcement?
Honestly, it's going to be just like the Bethesda thing. We're going to wake up on a Tuesday morning and we're just going to see it. It's like, what the?
It's crazy, but that's probably the way it's going to be. Lately with Xbox, that's the way it's been. It's like, it's crazy.
I love it.
I love it too, but I wish the other side would do that as well. I wish PlayStation would have something bigger to give us and say. You saw the State of Play recently. What was your thoughts on that?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, given the situation of the world right now, and it's still in, and we probably will still be affecting stuff for the next year. I can't really harp too much on these publishers and developers for not having ample content to show because we know this stuff has affected their pipeline tremendously. Like some industries have been able to bounce back faster than others, but gaming has definitely taken a hit. So for PlayStation to come out with that State of Play, I mean, I saw a couple things there that looked interesting, but overall I wasn't too impressed. But just knowing how things have been, like no one has really shown that much impressive stuff as of late. Like Xbox is like the sole exception for stuff coming out in like the next year, but everybody else has just been, listen, we don't have a lot of stuff. We'll have more about this later. At the very least, I'm glad they set the expectation saying you're not going to see any of these games You're just gonna see Deathloop and just a couple indie titles. So I'm not too stressed, just because PlayStation has built up that goodwill with me as a gamer that they have all this stuff in the tank. You know
the bangers are coming.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're definitely coming. And that's why I always tell people, for me, when it comes down to, if I have to choose exclusives, I'm going to go to the Sony side and say I prefer Sony exclusives over Microsoft exclusives.
Yeah.
It's harder for me to say that now that they have ZeniMax, though. I'll be honest, because I love a lot of those games from Bethesda, or that were either published by Bethesda. I'm talking about Doom. I'm talking about Fallout. I'm talking about Elder Scrolls. Like, those games for me, amazing. Amazing. So
absolutely, it does. And that's why, like I said in my when I reviewed the PS5 after like 4 months, I said if I had to roll with one console this generation, it would be the PS5, because I love the Sony exclusives, and also I'm a big player of Japanese titles. And while Xbox they're getting a lot better. I mean, we've seen like Judgment come out, the Yakuza games come out. The majority of the Japanese games are still PlayStation heavy, or at least on a platform that is an Xbox. And that's where, if I had to have one console, it would still be a PlayStation. But Xbox is doing good shit.
And you could attribute that to Phil Spencer. He's been the one that's been pushing a lot of Japanese titles. He's been going overseas a lot, making these deals with Japanese companies to bring their games over to Xbox.
I want to see what this man's frequent flyer miles are like, because it seems like every other week there's a time he was going to Xbox, like he was going to Japan. I was like, damn, Phil, but for good reason. We see it. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, even though some of these games don't speak to me, just like in the state of play, I know they speak to others. And when I post a tweet like I did, and I said, look, for me, this wasn't a good showing. That's for me. That's telling you it's for me. It's not for people to get mad at me and say, oh, they had this. You don't got to argue with me. Look, if you like the show, that's more power to you. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you liked what they had to show. For me, I personally didn't. Even Deathloop, to me, it just looks okay. It's nothing special to me. It looks a lot like Dishonored. Let's be real.
Like, for me, I'm actually really excited for Deathloop. Will I get it day one? I'm not too sure, considering I'm very, like, these days I don't buy stuff day one like I used to, just because of like timing, and I just want to make the most out of the games I have. But Deathloop looks fantastic. Knowing me, I'll probably wait until it hits Game Pass next year, because just like, how the timing of things is. Like, let's say there's something that's really interesting that happens around Deathloop. One of those games has got to have to take an L. But you know what it is at the end of the day? I think it comes down to a lesson in growth. For you to come out there and say, instead of saying like, oh, State of Play sucked, you said State of Play was not interesting or appealing to me, but I'm happy for people that do like that stuff. That is a big differentiator compared to a lot of people out there these days, Yeah,
but you shouldn't have to explain yourself when you're putting it out there saying, hey, this is how I feel. Like, you shouldn't even have to explain. But I'm glad that you do, and kind of rub people's feet and stuff. That you shouldn't have to do that.
You shouldn't, in a perfect world.
But today's day and age, it seems there's a lot of sensitive people out there, and you just have to watch everything you say. And it's going to be kind of like this with this next topic.
Uh-oh. What are we getting into?
Because we're going to talk about Sony and director's cuts.
Oh, we going there.
Okay, we're going to talk about these director's cuts. I'm sure you've seen them. Death Stranding's coming out with the director's cut, Ghost of Tsushima. How do you feel about them charging? Personally, how do you, for me anyway, I'll just say that for me, I think that a director's cut is fine, especially with DLC content, new content put in the game. I get it. They're working on this game. You gotta pay them something for this work. I get that. But in a day and age when we see that other developers are pushing their games out with new upgrades, not necessarily DLCs or anything added content-wise anyway, but where you're talking about, like, even ray tracing, you're talking about just visuals and stuff, or frame rates. They're adding more to that for free. And then you see Sony over here wanting to, at that level, even just pushing that stuff out at a $10 charge. It's kind of weird. I think that sucks, in my opinion. They could do what they want and charge what they want, and people can do what they want with their money. And I'm not going to tell them, hey, you shouldn't buy it for $10, because I'm not pocket watching. Okay, as Cognito would say over there on the Iron Lords. I'm not going to pocket watch anybody. But for me, I'm not paying an extra $10 for some shine on this new game. I'm not for an extra mode in the game or whatever. I'm not paying $10 for it, but I will pay for a game that is giving me more content if I like that game. So Ghost of Tsushima, I loved it. One of my favorite games of last generation.
Absolutely.
I am buying that DLC because I think it's worth it. I'm going to get more than 6 hours playing to that game, into that DLC alone. I know that. And for $30 or $20 is what that is. But you kind of got to pay that $10 PS5, tax to get the shiny new stuff on your PS5. So I'm going to be paying $30 extra for this. I don't like having to pay that extra $10, but I think $30 for more than 6 hours of gameplay, I think I'm going to get my money's worth.
Yeah.
But I just think it's kind of slimy that they package it like this. Like, dude, if it's only worth $20, let me have the option to just buy that. And, you should be giving the rest of it for free. Like,
this whole situation, I mean, I 100% agree with you on this, Fonz. I have no problem with paying for post-release content if it's quality. No issues whatsoever, because some of my favorite experiences in the past couple of years, ironically, have been DLC. I mean, The Witcher, Blood and Wine. My God, Jesus Christ! Like, I feel good when there is quality post-release content from a good studio. And Ghost of Tsushima, I'm sure the Iki Island expansion is going to be awesome. But this whole gatekeeping of next generation features behind a $10 paywall, I'm not a big fan of that, because you got to look at the optics at the end of the day, right? PlayStation is selling you this amazing exclusive in Ghost of Tsushima. Fantastic game. No one's going to deny that. And for you to unlock the PlayStation 5 features, which is DualSense, 3D audio, and whatever stuff they want to put in there, charging $10 for it. When eventually this game gets released on PC, they're going to have all that stuff built into it for free. Like, that's just nickel and diming the early adopters.
And they're not paying $70 for games on PC.
Oh, no.
That ain't happening. And that's another thing that people have to understand. Sony games go to PC, they're not spending $70 over
$50
there games.
Horizon was $50.
Yeah.
I think Death Stranding was $50 too.
And they get to play them at the highest quality available.
Oh, let's talk about that. Death Stranding. So Death Stranding's $10 director's cut. I wasn't I was split, because at least, that $10 you're getting the PlayStation 5 version, but you're also getting a whole bunch of other stuff too. So they softened the blow a little bit. Like, you're paying for it, but here's all this extra stuff. Ghost of Tsushima, it's like expansion separate and then $10 to feel the controller. That's more egregious in my opinion.
It is, but at the same time, it's still a slime ball tactic.
Oh, it is.
When you look at it,
doubt.
because it's they're trying to soften that blow with saying, hey, you get a couple of extras here,
No doubt.
Who knows how long that stuff will be, like the new content within Death Stranding. It doesn't look as expansive as what you're getting with Ghost.
It's just
a whole new island.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of different content, which is why they're like, hey, here, we'll package this with the $10. If it was a whole expansion, I assume they would do the same thing. But in an era where technology's gotten to the point where we can release, like, this isn't the 90s anymore, where we had to buy a new version of Street Fighter every year. We have the internet at our disposal. They can release these updates. Like, A Plague Tale's Innocence just got a next generation patch, which has DualSense support, which has all of these things for free. Doom Eternal, all of these things for free. So for them to do this on a game that to this calendar date is not even a year old with Ghost of Tsushima, to me, that's just taking advantage of it. But at the end of the day, it is capitalism, and people will vote with their wallets. So
exactly.
And that's all I can say to people.
Yeah, that's it. Just it. I don't tell people what to do with their money, but for me, like, I'm not even paying $70 for their games. I've refused to pay $70, and I don't look at anybody else and say don't do it, because I get it, but there's just a principle there for me. It's like, look, I see these people's financial reports. These companies are making billions of dollars year after year. Even you could put the microtransactions aside. They're still making their money on the single player games that don't even have a microtransaction. They're still making their money back. And you're telling me that you need an extra $10? No, you don't.
No.
So it's based on that principle alone where I won't buy a $70 game. So even if, say, Ghost of Tsushima 2 comes out, $70.
Yeah.
As much as I want to play that game, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till I can get it on sale, or I can get it used down at the GameStop, because I'm not going to pay $70 for that, for any game.
Yeah. And it is, I mean, at the end of the day, like, yeah, you know, everyone, they just got to pick and choose their battles. But what makes this frustrating is that, you know, how you can kind of see the writing on the wall of what's coming next. Because look at it like this, right? People have been wondering why Horizon Zero Dawn hasn't gotten a PlayStation 5 patch. They haven't even unlocked it to 60 FPS. Part of me is thinking they're going to do, they're going to do what they did with Spider-Man Miles Morales, where they're going to sell you an $80 version of the game, which comes with the remastered version. And that's the only way you're going to play it, by forking over the money. You think
they're going to do it that way?
I would not be surprised. At the very least, I know it's not going to be free, but they're going to charge more. Yeah.
This isn't a very popular thing to say, but I said it since day one, and I played it, and I will still continue with this. I think Miles Morales was originally supposed to be DLC, and I think Miles Morales was pushed to the PS5 as a standalone title because, let's face it, the main game itself was 5 to 6 hours. Mm-hmm. I beeline the game, but I played a few side missions here and there, and I beat it in 6 hours. Yeah. Okay. Watching all the cutscenes and everything, 6 hours. I enjoyed the game. Mm-hmm. I thought it looked incredible, but it wasn't worth $50. It just, in my opinion, it wasn't worth that price. Mm-hmm. But it did feel like it should have been a DLC. Mm-hmm. I don't feel Horizon Forbidden West is DLC at all. This is a big new game. So I don't think it's going to be that quite, you know, I really think that it's going to be a director's cut for Horizon Zero Dawn. They're going to come out with a director's cut.
So are you saying, like,
it's just going to be an extra $10?
I see, that's as weird as it sounds. Optimistically, that's the best scenario in this respect. But I wouldn't be surprised for them to gatekeep it to like a premium, expensive edition, because that's what they did. Because but remember, that's what they did for Spider-Man Remastered. To this day,
I know
you cannot buy Spider-Man Remaster standalone on the PlayStation Store, and you can't even pay money to upgrade it. You have to buy the $70 Miles Morales Ultimate Edition.
That's crazy, dude. Yeah. I don't even want to think about that. Like, I wanted that to be a one-off.
Yeah, like it's all it could have been. Like, even if it's like, hey, we're not giving you an next-gen upgrade, but here it is for $20, Spider-Man Remastered. People would buy that. Like, people would buy that in droves, but they didn't, because they knew they can make a lot more money. And with Spider-Man Miles Morales, honestly, I'm going to be real. Games that release like standalone, like physical copies, all that stuff, have a way bigger impact than something that's just DLC. So they could have dropped it as DLC, but they're like, you know what? Let's hype this up like it's a new release, and we got a new console. So it's just logistics, you know?
That's why they did it, of course. Yeah. I mean, you got the PS5 coming out. Why not, you know, spruce up that DLC, make it look really nice and shiny, put it out there as a standalone package, and boom, people will buy it for $50. And I did. My daughter really wanted to play it so bad, and so I bought it for her. She played it on the Pro. She enjoyed it. And then I said, I'm going to wait for the PS5 and then play it since I own it. Mm-hmm. And when I got my PS5, I played it. And look, the visuals were incredible, man.
It's insane.
I mean, to me, it's still one of the best looking games out there, period.
And that ray tracing, like Insomniac keeps, I don't know where this company finds time to sleep, man. They just they just put out a new ray tracing update to make it smoother. I was like, what?
Yeah,
they're wizards, man.
Crazy. JD Gamer with the $10 says, Microsoft need NetherRealm and TT Games, but also Sega. So my acquisition prediction are those three. With NetherRealm and Sega, they get Mortal Kombat and Virtua Fighter and a KI developer, which is what we said. Yeah, I could see that. It's possible, JD. We'll have to see. He's also, JD with the 5 here says, with TT Games, they get a developer that's keen on developing platformers, a family-friendly type game, and that's something Phil said he wanted specifically. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think there's really any shortage of family-friendly games, especially on Game Pass. There's a ton of them.
That's a lot.
But as far as first party, I could see them wanting more of that for first party. Because I wouldn't really say I mean, you can look at like Sea of Thieves and say, yeah, it's
say
family
that.
friendly, but
Yeah.
you know, maybe not for the smaller kids.
Yeah.
Maybe a little too violent. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but
it gets wild on Sea of Thieves, especially the PvP stuff.
So this is interesting. Mercy Buckets says, if Xbox had a lot more games like Hellblade, I wouldn't have purchased a PS5, but Xbox Studios are working on that genre. But I also understand their mission.
Okay. I see what he's saying.
For me, look, I have to have everything. Like, just in case that one game comes out and I need to play it, I've got to have it right there, day one. You know, unfortunately with the PS5, it ain't day one for me. But as soon as I can get it on the cheap, I'm buying a game that I want to play. See, that's the thing for me. Like, and I'm sure it's like that for you too, Neo. It's like you go wherever the games are at.
Absolutely.
And that's what a gamer should do. Like, this nonsense about I wish Microsoft would fail or I wish Sony would fail.
Oh my God.
It's such a ridiculous thing to say. And there's a lot of people that really do commit to that and feel that way. It's very odd.
People don't realize that. I'm not saying that competition existing inherently means that we're going to get better games, but it is actually better to have more people in the space so that one person doesn't get too cocky, because everyone's saying this right now.
Of course.
Like, remember back when the PS3 came out, that thing was $600. PlayStation legit told you to get a second job so you can afford it. Like, Xbox with the Xbox One DRM, we have a console for people that don't understand our vision. It's called the 360. Like, there's a reason why we need to have more players. So when our fave starts messing up in the game, we can say, you know what? I'm going to give this guy my $500 and all my purchases going forward. Like, this is important. So I don't want any of these companies to fail. I want them all to be great, which is why I'm critical of all of them, because they have potential, you know?
Yeah. And then when, you know, you had people out there like Jim Ryan saying that, you know, they believe in generations. And then all of a sudden, all their games seem to be going to PlayStation 4. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute here. I thought you believed in this, you know, and it's just, you know,
Jim Ryan.
All these companies will lie to us at some point,
of course,
in some capacity. It's just that's the way companies are. They're not our friends. As much as, you know, Phil and Aaron and these guys talk to the community, I will stress that, you know, hey, they seem like super nice guys. I've talked to Phil in a party. He was very nice and awesome guy to talk to, and a true gamer. I'll give him that. I could tell. That guy is a true gamer and a really nice guy, but he is a head of a company. He is not your friend. He is not somebody that, you know, I can personally call a friend. Look, these companies will do what's best for their wallet, not for ours, for theirs. Microsoft so far doing pretty well as far as consumerism and stuff, as far as being pro-consumer. But they can do better.
And
they can improve.
And let's not forget what happened January of this year. Everybody was riding high on the hype of the Series X. This is going to be awesome. And then they quietly doubled the price of Xbox Live Golds. I'm just telling you, it happens, people. It happens.
And then in turn, what happened is we spoke up. The consumers said, hey, we're not about to pay that. That is ridiculous. Stop it. And they walked it back. They walked it back. And, you know, unfortunately, there's still people out there that love to hold on to their piece of plastic and put them up on such a pedestal that no matter what they do, they will fall in line. Those people are dangerous. I'm sorry. Some of you guys out there, when they brought up that price hike, were saying, I guess it's okay. You know, they haven't, you know, increased the price in some time. And it makes sense. And I'm sitting there going, no. It, you know,
dude.
It honestly is the same argument with the $70 games as well. I hear people say, well, you know, we haven't had a price hike. And it's like, dude, it's because they're making money hand over fist today that they weren't making 20, 30 years ago. Sorry. You have to take so much into account, not just microtransactions or DLCs or season passes, battle passes, or even you have to look at the amount of gamers today that are out there spending the money on this. This industry is the biggest out there entertainment industry there is. It's bigger than movies.
Industry. So my whole thing is, I mean, I'm gonna be that person. Like I said, people just got to vote with their wallets. I don't have a problem with $70 video games because at the end of the day, if Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out tomorrow and it's the best game in the world, I'm gonna buy Grand Theft Auto 6. And like everybody's got that one game.
No,
so that's why
it's not even about that. If you're cool with it, I'm not like down on you for that. Like, that's cool. But you aren't out there saying,
no,
well, you know, like you're backing it saying this is great because, you know, they need the money and all this stuff. Like, nah, you're not one of those dudes.
Nah, hell no. And that's the thing what people, because that's why I never put myself on a moral high ground. I am holier than thou.
Exactly.
When it comes to things like this, because there's going to be a point where we all screw up and we become hypocrites. So like when people, that's where the whole movie, the goalpost thing comes from. Everyone's like, oh, this, that, but wait, what about this? No, but that. So that's why I'm like, I'm cool with $70 games, just like I'm cool with Game Pass. I don't think Game Pass is killing the industry or all. Like every day it's like, all right, what are we going to argue about today? $70 video games, Game Pass, pick.
Bro, it's definitely not killing the industry, but it is changing the industry.
Yes, absolutely is.
It's definitely changing the industry because people are starting to look at Game Pass more and more. You've got more and more casuals signing up, and casuals, as we know, are what really moves the needle in the gaming industry. And
wait, are you telling me it's not all those people on Twitter?
It's not the hardcore on Twitter.
You're telling me it's not the people on Twitter who go on to like Xbox can post up this thing like Happy Pride Month in the comment section, PlayStation better. Like you told me it's not those people, Fonz. Are you? No. My world,
mind blown. Yeah. You didn't know this, but it's crazy to me to see how big Game Pass is growing.
Yes.
I'm a big proponent of it. I love it. Okay. I personally love it because it saves me a lot of money. I've got kids that like to play these games and stuff. Look, I was buying at one time, I was having to buy 2 copies of games and stuff.
Oh, man.
And now that I got Game Pass and game sharing, like you can game share Game Pass. It's amazing. Me and my son, we can play whatever we want. Hundreds of games in there. You know, I should go through that whole spiel for that meme, you know. And right now you can get it for just $1 a month.
Low price of the one. Yo, but can we just talk about like here's gonna be my kumbaya moment of the stream. If you have both a PlayStation and Xbox, you win as a gamer because you have Game Pass there. You get all of the day one Xbox titles and then maybe some third-party stuff. And then on PlayStation, you don't got to worry about buying all these other games because Xbox has you covered in that respect. So you can go out there and buy more. Like people don't understand that.
It's true. It helps.
You can buy more if you have multiple platforms. Like it's just.
I've spent way less money since I've had Game Pass than I have on games in years. And you know how many times I would have been pissed off had I had to pay a full $60 on a game that was broken or very buggy.
Yeah.
I mean, everything that's been dropping since, I don't know, the last couple of years has had issues. Everything. Not one game has come out clean. In terms of AAAs. In terms of triple. What is that? What is that?
Persona 5. There you go. Checkmate.
Is
Checkmate.
that double A or triple A? I don't know.
I don't know. It's in the 90s on Metacritic. That's all that matters.
Right. But I'm just saying.
I know what you mean, bro. Yeah.
You know, most triple A games out there just come out and they're just not in good shape. They needed more time.
We beta it for the first 6 months. Yeah.
I hate paying $60 to be a beta tester.
Oh, dude,
I'm tired of it,
bro. Oh man, I feel bad for the people. I'm not saying this is an excuse, but I feel bad for the people that bought Outriders on PC and PlayStation. My God,
I feel bad for anybody that bought it. Yeah, you're right. I mean, even if you bought it on Xbox and you didn't have Game Pass, I feel bad for you because there are those people out there that aren't 100% Game Pass. And this is one thing that I even told Aaron Greenberg, you know, not face to face, but on our podcast, an RDX podcast, he was on. And we were talking, and he was talking about Game Pass and how great it was. And I mentioned, hey, you know, the competition has games for $70. Are you guys going to go that route? You know, he can't really answer that stuff. But he just said, why does it matter? We got Game Pass. And I rebutted, and I said, well, it does matter because most gamers out there don't have Game Pass.
Oh, Fonz said no, because they were trying to do that whole like, let's just slide.
There's no haters, and there's no hate to that because I respect these. I respect these guys. Aaron's a good guy. You know, I still talk with Aaron. He's a great guy, but at the end of the day, I know he's the head of marketing, and it's like I just want to put it out there that hey, you have a lot of consumers out here that aren't down with $70 games. And just because of Game Pass doesn't mean that everybody's just going to fall in line to Game Pass and not buy games. Like,
okay, so I'm going to pose this question to you, Fonz, because right now we are in a weird, we're still in the cross-gen mindset. At least Microsoft is, where it's like, hey, we're releasing Halo Infinite and Forza Horizon. They're still going to be $60 because they're on Xbox One. What do you think is going to happen when we start getting those series exclusive games? I'm not talking like in the year one, like, because I know Flight Simulator is not on Xbox, but when we start getting into 2022, 2023, I'm talking like the Starfields, the Fables.
We're getting Flight Simulator in August.
Yeah, but I think that's still 60 though, right?
What do you mean?
Flight Simulator on Xbox.
It's still 60. Yeah.
So
all
I'm talking
games
like
are still 60.
Yeah, but what will happen if we start getting into, like, if we see like Starfield comes out and it says $69.99? Like, what you personally, Fonz, like, what's gonna happen?
Well, I get it in Game Pass, so it's not really gonna bother me right there. But I will say something on it for the people, because honestly, I've always been consumer minded on my channel. I've always talked about it, and I'll never stray away from that. Even face to face with an exec, I will ask hard questions. It's just the way I am. I'm built that way, and that's why they'll probably never be on my show, because I probably would bring up something like that.
So you're telling me you wouldn't ask them what their favorite color is or what their favorite Game Pass? Bro, here's the thing, like, no shade to anybody that gets these guys. No,
but you watch them, and it's always these cookie cutter questions and answers,
bro.
And look, I used to host a podcast, an MMA podcast, and I'd have fighters on the show.
Yeah,
and believe me, what they do is, the management hits you up and they say, you can only ask this, this, and this, and this. Don't stray away from these questions. Or this question is not allowed to be asked. Stuff like that. And I'm sure it happens in the industry with everybody, in any industry.
Absolutely. They prep them.
Yeah, it's all a game. It's all I don't know, man.
It's just, I like when I see, like, because, I get, as weird as it sounds, I get kind of giddy when I see, there's like a 45-minute interview with Phil Spencer from a non-big media outlet. Let me see what this is all about. And they're just like, so what do you think about cloud streaming? Do you think it'll revolutionize gaming? And I'm like,
oh my God. You could tell these questions were prepped. You can tell.
Like, bro.
Even on the bigger channels, it's there's nothing hard. And it's not like I'm saying that I want to be an ass to anybody on here, because I don't. But if something is going on in the industry that I think that is against the consumer, I want to ask those questions. I want to be like, hey, I'm concerned about this, because I truly am. It's not something that I'm just saying to just, blow air out of my mouth. I really do care about my wallet and other people's wallets, I guess, because I just want them to know that, that there's people out here that aren't just okay with Game Pass, and I love Game Pass. I love it, but there's not everybody does. And I get that. You can't push everything on everyone. Like, it just doesn't work that way.
So what you're saying is, if I just reminded back to the whole Diablo thing where they're like, you guys don't have phones, right?
Yeah, you guys don't have phones. Everybody's got a phone and they got booed. Yeah. It's the same thing. It's like, with xCloud or anything, it's like, dude, you can't push everything like this on everyone. Not everyone will take to it. Now, eventually, again, I said this is changing the industry. Game Pass really is. But it's going to take time for everyone or most people to even start to realize the value.
Absolutely.
Once they do realize the value, they're going to jump on it. Like, a lot of people are going to jump on it. But there's still going to be those outliers saying, nah, I don't rent games. There's still going to be those people. So it's just, it is what it is. Anyways, we've come to the end of the show. Tell everybody out there, NGS, where they can find you and all that good stuff.
Well, y'all can find me obviously from my YouTube channel, youtube.com/NeoGameSpark. That's where I upload my videos and I do my streams. And then other than that, like, my social media handles are usually all NeoGameSpark. Out of all the handles, I frequent Twitter the most. That's where you guys can get in contact with me if you want to talk about some stuff or if you see something really cool. It's just twitter.com/NeoGameSpark or @NeoGameSpark. Every now and then, me and the homie Fonz engage in some Twitter discussions. But I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, man, thank you so much, Fonz, for having me on the show.
Of course,
comeback episode of Games Talk Live. If you guys haven't already, make sure you give this man a follow on Twitter, subscribe to him on the channel, because Fonz is putting out some great stuff. Like I said, this is my first time seeing the intro cinematic of your show as it plays out. And bro, I got some fucking goosebumps. I was like, yo, this shit straight out of like Far Cry 3. New Dragon? Like that's the first thing I thought of. Blood Dragon.
Yeah.
Blood Dragon, and it's just dope, man. So
I try to build my little studio and stuff and all this stuff going on out of nostalgia.
Yes,
80s and arcades and all that kind of stuff. That's the feel I want. But
yes, and it's
follow this man, people. NGS, follow him. He's an awesome content creator.
I think we got another super chat, or did we read this one?
Yeah,
already?
we do. JD Gamer says, both of you said if you had to buy just one console this gen, it would be the PS5. So the question is, what single dev or publisher or combination changes that to X1X?
I think he meant Series X.
Series X. Is it Sega, FromSoft, Bandai Namco? And actually, I wouldn't say PS5. NGS said PS5 would be his.
I said PS5, yeah.
For me, I would go with the Series X, especially playing it and dude, the quality of life improvements I get on that, the features I get on that, the fact that I can resume a game for up to 4 games.
Oh, man. More than that, man. More than that.
Feature is nice. And the fact that, like, I don't know, all my game saves came with me over the cloud just so easily. There's a lot to the console that I really enjoy over the PS5. But I do like PS5 or PlayStation exclusives over Xbox exclusives. Well, again, I said it's harder with the ZeniMax acquisition, but we'll see. We'll see with all that. But
so I guess this question would probably be, all right, so if anything, I'll answer it as the person who chose the PS5. Yeah. You'll answer it as someone who says they're staying with Series X, but what publisher would get you to switch over? So in my case, a publisher or a developer that would make me go exclusively Xbox. Honestly, I would say it's got to be Sega. It's definitely got to be Sega, because if for the most part, Square Enix, they release all their games multi-platform across multiple systems. Very rarely do they do full-on exclusives for consoles. They're usually timed. So I really wouldn't have to worry about that. But if they had gotten Sega exclusively, that's all the Yakuza games. That's all of Ryuga Gotoku Studios output. That's Atlas. And if Microsoft gave Atlas some extra funding so they can actually port their old back catalog game and work on a lot of games simultaneously. Oh man, I'd have to say Sega would be the one publisher, because they own a lot of my favorite studios that put out games. Definitely Sega. Yeah.
For me, there wouldn't be any studio that could pull me away from one console to another. I have to have all of them, man. I have to.
Are you telling me you don't wake up in the morning and pledge allegiance to the great
to
Xbox
Phil Spencer
flag?
Or Jim Ryan? No,
you don't do that. Are you telling me you don't sit down?
I don't have pictures of them behind me as well, although I should do that.
Guys, I just want to let you know, I'll just get you some inside secrets. He does have pictures of them. They're just conveniently off camera. He's looking at them right now. He looking at the monitor? No, he's not. Looking at that frame photo.
All right. Before we get out of here, I just want to let people know that I am on all streaming platforms out there for this podcast. You can find me on the Apple podcast streaming app. You can find me on Google. You can find me on Spotify. All of them, I'm out there. So if you can't watch the show here live on Sundays, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 4 p.m. Eastern Time, you can check my show out there or watch it on YouTube afterwards. That's good too. Anyways, until next time, folks, be good.
Peace.